time has come to purify the party and eliminate all dissident members.
Heil Hitler.
We are talking The Man with the Iron Heart, which is the true story of Operation Anthropoid, which was actually a movie in itself in 2016, and there's actually been a couple of adaptations of this story. This one's coming out in 2017. It was meant to be coming out in 2016, but because there was basically another version, it got pushed back. This one stars Rosamund, Pike, Jack Rayner, Mia Wasikowska and Jason Clarke, and is a telling of the assassination of Reinhard Heydrich, who was a prominent member of the SS. So the story basically takes place in mainly Prague, and the first half of the story tells the story of Reinhard's ascension into the ranks of the Nazi party and becoming a prominent figure in the SS. So the first half of the movie is kind of a biopic, and you know he's got his wife Lena, played by Rosamund Pike, and that's their relationship. It's his relationship with Heinrich Himmler, and how he ascends into the kind of the ranks of the SS, etc. The second half of the movie actually takes place from the point of view of two Czech resistance fighters and their kind of attempt to assassinate him. So let's discuss. So this is a very well made, lavish production, and I've got to say it definitely captures the time and feel of obviously the World War II era. Now I'll point out that this is actually spoken in English language, so if you want a truly authentic World War II experience, obviously based with kind of mainly Nazi characters, you know, obviously they're all speaking English, you've got English speaking actors here, so that may bother some people, but I've got to say, other than that, I feel they've definitely captured the aesthetic and the kind of the horrors of you know that era basically. And we have the SS, their efforts to essentially cleanse you know what they believe is the racially diverse people that they don't feel is obviously what they are on their agenda. So we do see a lot of that on screen. So there are images here of mass executions, mass graves, etc. So it's all pretty bleak here. So I've got to say, despite the fact that it is obviously that kind of style of movie, it's a very well made film. I feel the cinematography here is excellent. The direction is very good. I think all the performances here are pretty much top notch, really. I think Jason Clarke does a great job of playing Reinhard, who is this real kind of like stoic kind of character who we actually see from the beginning of the film as a bit more of a tearaway and kind of like pulls his act together, mainly through the efforts of his wife, really kind of pointing him in the right direction. I've got to say maybe the second half of the movie is a little weaker. This is from the point of view of the Czech resistance fighters, and I didn't really feel we got a lot of their characters. You know, because this movie is essentially two stories smashed into one, I feel both suffer through a little bit of lack of development. It almost would have been maybe a better thing to have two separate films and have the stories of each of them expanded upon, because both of the stories suffer in this, because you feel that you're getting a little bit short-changed, especially when you watch the first half. And you know, you'll have these kind of like very sort of quick jumps in time. You know, he meets his wife, and the next scene he's got a kind of like a 5-year-old kid and stuff like that. So it kind of, you have these very sort of quick jumps in time, because really there's only an hour to tell each portion of this story. And again, in the second half, which I still feel is the weaker half anyway, again you don't really feel that you are getting to know the characters, even though that one actually takes place more along a kind of a 6 months time scale. So the storytelling device here is a little wonky for me, so it doesn't quite work in the way that I feel is truly immersive. Other than that, there's not a lot really to say that I feel is wrong with the film, but it's such a kind of major part of it that you kind of feel that you are taken aback from it a little bit. You know, it's not as flashy as kind of some other kind of war films that you've seen, but overall it's a very well made film with some good performances. But because you don't know the characters as well, I feel, especially in the second half when we have all these kind of like resistance fighters, they all kind of, you don't really feel like you've known them, so they all kind of blend into one, to be honest. The first half is a little stronger, but it's a completely different style of movie. It's kind of a biopic with, you know, obviously all the focus being on the kind of like the Nazi characters, whilst the second half is mainly a kind of more of an action film, and we kind of only sort of dip in to see the Nazi kind of side of it here and there. So it's a little uneven, but it's definitely a well-made film. Like I've said, English language, so if you're wanting truly authentic, then that may bother some people. But overall, it's definitely worth a watch. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Have you seen it? What did you think of it? Leave me comments, and I shall look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.